Hello, welcome to another episode of Pop Cultured, where I am joined by two awesome guests today, where we will be discussing quite a big movie that's just come out. I think it's done quite well, hasn't it? It's done all right.
It's done okay.
Yeah,
Just a minor movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
But
bit,
we
a
have,
little independent,
mm,
film.
It's
mm.
nice when
I think
people try new
yeah.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's lovely. But yes, I am joined by the awesome Scott and Charlotte to discuss the Odyssey because it's the biggest thing in cinema at the moment. But first, this wasn't the plan at all. None of us knew this was coming. This just dropped out of the blue. I think everyone was expecting this to drop at San Diego Comic-Con because that hasn't even been yet. The Avengers trailer just randomly dropped out of nowhere yesterday.
To run to the loo at work to watch it. I was like, oh, I've got a meeting in 4 minutes. This is like a 2-minute long trailer. Right, let's go.
I saw pop up and I looked at my phone and I started watching. I was thinking, wait, is this fan made? Is this? Oh my god! And then I looked at the thing. I could see, oh, it's actually the Avengers official. Wow. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, like there was no build up to this. Usually there's like, we know it's coming this day. Everyone's like putting online, it's coming Thursday, it's coming that. And then with San Diego coming, it's like, it'll probably drop when they show it in Hall H. And then literally, I was literally scrolling Instagram and was like, Marvel UK, Disney UK. I was like, something's been posted that's big, not realizing what it was. And then clicked on it. I was like, my God.
It
they've
does
just
make
dropped
me
it out of
wonder
nowhere.
what they've got planned maybe for Hall H. If this is like a almost like a, well, it feels like a pre-trailer trailer. It just feels like a look who we've got in it and some of the cool stuff. But like, I don't know about you guys, there's not been a lot of plot type stuff released for a trailer yet.
I don't like. I do hear people say that is Hall H not as important as it used to be, and people are just posting things anyway. They can't announce any Secret Wars thing, can they? Because that is going to be the next big one. So, but that will probably ruin everything. So it could just be an extended trailer or sneak peek look, sort of thing. But I absolutely hyped. But the more I think about it, the more I'm a little bit worried about one thing. And that is potentially in the trailer, we see spoilers. If you haven't seen the trailer, I don't know why I'd give him a spoiler one for a trailer. But Thor, Thor's had such a journey MCU. And I feel like with this film, he was going to be back as the big, mighty, powerful Thor. So again, to see another villain just two-finger or wherever it was stop Stormbreaker in its tracks, I'm like, oh, are they obviously like nerfing him? Not nerfing him, but I don't want to see Thor all of a sudden being super, super powerful, big, and then all of a sudden just chopped down straight away.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, Doom I think he's a lot more powerful than people think in the comics. Do you know like Doom?
Okay, here's my, don't hate me, everyone. I mean, obviously I love the Avengers, but I don't want them all back again. Like,
no.
Like Iron Man got the best ending. I feel like this cheapens it massively. I don't want like RDJ back. I'm sorry. That was the most beautiful ending. I sobbed my eyes out in the cinema, and every time I've watched it since, because that's like the all giving sacrifice. His kid watched him leave that message. Like, in my eyes, he's done. Cap got that beautiful ending when he gets to go back and have that dance with Peggy and then like grow old with her. What more could you want for both of those characters? I don't want multiverse versions. I don't want the actors back. I would like you to use like Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, Agatha, Billy, all the new people, like the Kate Bishop, all the new people they've brought in as like main cast, but then it feels like they've kind of folded back and they're doing like X-Men and stuff. And I'm like, look, I'm sure they'll stick the landing, or I hope they'll stick the landing. But it feels like, why have I watched all these TV shows if you're just going to bring like the X-Men in, and now I'm going to have to go rewatch all of X-Men? Where are all your other characters?
I'm wondering I'm wondering just how much the X-Men are going to be in it. Is it their universe that's completely wiped, or I don't know how they're going to do that.
I think so. I think the X-Men universe is going to be the one that's just gone. I am in agreement. The way I've been saying it is it feels very much like Damage Control, that they've wrote themselves into a corner, and to save it, they're bringing back what worked. Doesn't mean I'm not excited for it. I'm excited to see what it does. We already know from something Kevin Feige said that the end of Secret Wars will not be a reboot. It's going to be taken as like, in the comics where they have like a little reset point where it's like, we're not rebooting, but this is starting from issue 1 again. And we are potentially going to get a new actor as Iron Man, a new actor as Cap in the future. They are going to recast them. But I agree, like, the Endgame ending was so well done. It's perfect. And as I say, writing them, they've wrote themselves into a hole because a lot of the characters we've got now don't feel like they've had enough fleshed out as such. Like, Shang-Chi's appeared once.
Mm-hmm.
But they've not had enough interaction because they've given them all their intro films and they've not given them like 2 and 3 where, like, you know, Iron Man randomly bumps into Black Widow and then they come back around again in Avengers. So it feels fine that they know each other because they did meet. Like, it feels like they've not had enough time or given themselves enough time to do that with the new characters. They focused on keep bringing back old characters, which works to a degree, but I don't have the same level of like nostalgia and connection, even though I've watched them the same as I've watched the new ones. And what's fascinating is like Moon Knight is one of the best Marvel things they've ever made. And obviously they've got actor issues with them not wanting to work with Disney. But like not following through with something like that, you can have the Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, like there's so many themes that can run through that and they just have done nothing with it. Loki's holding everything together. God bless him. I love Tom Hiddleston. I'm so fucking happy he's doing it. But the good thing about Loki is he's been consistent all the way through. He's popped up in everything. He's had one storyline and therefore I don't feel the same like weirdness about him being in it because he's meant to be in it. Like his story's not done yet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a massive key to the multiverse. Like, so if you're going to do that, he's got to be in it. And to be honest, I feel as though that thinking about it, thinking where the story could go and everything like that, in my head canon, you didn't need these old characters to do this story right. Because even if you're trying to save everything and be like, right, okay, we need to do something big here, you could play on the fact that everyone's been saying, right, we don't really know some of these characters that well. Because then you put them in a scenario where someone's coming that is a massive threat and none of these guys know how to work together. How the hell are we meant to stop it? But now you've shoehorned in the old characters that do know how to work together and everything. It's like,
I
where
did
does
watch a
this
video
work?
today. I did watch a video today where it sort of said that maybe this isn't the Cap that we know. This could be Hydra Cap.
Yeah,
Is this going to be a
it's
bad
Hydra
Cap?
Cap potentially.
Yeah, so it's that could be obviously a good angle to try and not cheapen our Steve Rogers ending. So it's a
But
different one.
they're already cheapening the new Captain America by bringing him back. I think like he had to fight so hard to be taken seriously as Captain America for
Yeah.
obviously like both in and outside of the MCU. And now they've brought the other one back again. I'm like the whatever the evil blonde guy who dances, whose name I've forgotten, was in his thing was evil Cap that he was defeating. Now they've brought back another Cap. I'm like, you made him Captain America. Don't confuse it. Like and I have to preface this whole podcast by saying I pick apart stuff I love. So don't think I don't absolutely love it and I'm not
Oh, I
like
do.
so hyper excited for it. But I watch stuff and I'm like, right, let's see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
No, I totally agree with that. Like, I do that as well. Like, you both know I'm a massive Daredevil fan, but I will pick apart some of that. Like, season 1 of Born Again, I will pick to pieces about how they handled Muse and stuff like that. I'll just absolutely rinse it. Even though I enjoyed it, I will pick it to pieces.
I have a question for both of you quickly.
Yeah.
Read Doomsday. Do you think that they should have just hard recast Kang and kept going with it? Because,
Yes.
like, I don't think it's an issue
Yes.
that Kang's face would change. You could explain that with one line of dialogue, but I was really excited to see what was going on with that. And now it feels like all of those shows are, like, kind of not meaning anything.
I don't know if I haven't really looked into this, but the original actor was he found guilty or not guilty? Because I
think he's
heard that
found not
something's come out
guilty.
where he was maybe not guilty, and that it's
I don't
maybe
really
I don't
know.
know.
I
I
think,
don't know.
yeah.
I think he was dropped
acquitted.
when he got taken to trial, and then I think he was found not guilty of most, if not all of it. But at that point, they'd moved on, which I think is kind of a bold move. I was like, if you'd moved on to recast, fine, and you've been like, we can't associate with you, you're a problem. Marketing wise, makes sense. But there are so many other talented actors out there that could have just stepped into place and been like, you know, I'm coming down to the universe. I've like slightly adjusted my appearance. Get the fuck over it. It's TV and film. Like sometimes shit happens.
I think he's definitely. I think the build up for like Kang. I thought. They definitely. I think they should have kept going with it because I thought it would be good. And you can still bring in Doom, but in a different, story. Like you said, Charlotte. Like it could just be a different variant, look slightly different, or whatever it is. It's. But I just feel like sometimes. Is it twice for me? It's happened. They haven't recast where they should. I'm on the side where I think Black Panther should have been recast. I think if you had Chadwick here and said, we're going to give another young black actor the big role, the chance, he would go 100%, make that man's dream.
Mm.
He would be all for it. He would have been like, his inspiration was Denzel Washington, and he could, like passing the torch of being that big, actor. I just really think they could have done that, and I don't think people would have mind. I think if and I've seen other people say this, that 100% Chadwick would have been 100% on board with this. Give another new, amazing, upcoming black actor the chance to do Black Panther and keep it going. I don't think anyone would have cared. The same with what Charlotte said about Kang. Just recast it. I don't think people will care.
We're fully invested in both superheroes and an epic thing based on something that was, in fact, not a real thing. So, like, the suspension of disbelief for your audience is already there. Don't treat them as stupid. Just be like, we had a legal issue and we had to recast them. Get over yourselves, move on with it. I think they cost themselves more money by having to scrap it all and redo it all. And they're now relying on well-known faces that most OG fans, I think, are excited to see, but also now feel this like horror that it might actually ruin everything that's just been so good. Like I've never seen anyone land anything like Endgame. That was beautiful for everyone. And then Guardians 3 topping off Guardians storyline. That was a clean cut. You could have moved on to anything.
Perfect.
I don't know. Like for me, like Deadpool and Wolverine, I loved that film, and I thought it had a beautiful way of ending the OG X-Men sort of story and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. So I feel like this film, Doomsday, is going to end that X-Men's universe, and way
Yeah,
what
I
Troy
do.
said. But for me, it's just a lot of pressure for them, I think, and it's like massive anticipation and the hope. I have a lot of hope. I want, I'm going into this with a clear mind and thinking, I'm hoping this is going to be the best experience it can be. If it's not, it's not.
So,
and I think there's a lot of pressure to make sure they land.
Yeah. So touching on the Kang thing, I think they should have done. I think they should have recast it. My only point on that is I think they botched him quite hard in Ant-Man. I thought they
He
made
was
him look
nerfed.
He was nerfed so much.
The
And I'm
new
like,
Ant-Man film was like erased from my brain. It was that insane.
it was like, can everyone take him serious now? Yeah, when Kevin Feige's saying like, oh, we had Doom planned for ages, I'm like, no, you didn't. This was literally you didn't know
Well,
what
they
to
might
do,
have had a
and you put this
storyline.
in
They
place.
might have had that idea that down the
Yeah.
line there's going to be a Doom, with the Fantastic
Exactly.
Four and stuff. But the Doom because let's be honest, it's a clear replacement of the big baddie that's coming. Who's the big
It is,
Thanos
it
level
is.
baddie?
You
It
could
is,
just hear me
and
out. You could bring in an actor, and the one that's just come into my head, and I think it's fucking genius. Rufus Sewell as Doctor Doom, British sometimes, suave, hot, like has gravitas. Any established actor with gravitas, a bit like they did with Thanos, bring them in and have them be scary. Like I'm more scared of someone I don't know than I am of a twisted Robert Downey Jr. because arguably we've seen Iron Man be a bit off the rockers and twisted. I want to see like new stuff. However, if they manage to pull this off, it will be amazing. And it's that kind of terror of like, are they going to do it?
Yeah, my pick for Doctor Doom all along, because I think he could have done it, was Daniel Craig.
Ooh,
I would have loved to have seen Daniel Craig do Doom, because I feel as
he's
though
got the
he's got
voice.
that British thing. He can change his accent, which we've seen in Knives Out, so he probably could have done the Latvian accent a bit.
Yeah.
And I feel as though he can be quite sinister in some aspects.
Yeah. No, that's a really good shout. Or even a little bit like Doctor Who. Just cast somebody that nobody knows, but just make sure they're good. Like no one knew who Matt Smith was, and now he's a lot of people's favorite. Like put someone in who nobody really knows and give them the break of their fucking career. Like, and give everyone a new like line into loving it.
Yeah, I think we all want to go in and love the film. We all want to love this thing. And I love Doom. Doom is one of my favorite comic villains. I feel as though Doom should have been not so much set up like Thanos, but you should have set him up beforehand and not just dropped Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would like to know
Because
more about him,
yes,
and I know nothing about
yeah,
him.
he has
Because
so
he's very much in that. They had that chance in Fantastic Four. I know he's right at the end, but like, you know, he is featured heavily, you know, through the comics as a build-up, isn't he? You know, he is, and you know, country leader, amazing scientist, and all this stuff. So it's like,
I mean,
but
the
this is
big
this
event
big
that's just
surprise.
happened in the big event that's happened in the comics recently was One World Under Doom, and he was literally the ruler of the world. And if I remember rightly, kind of towards the end, the only way he was defeated is that he sort of defeated himself. His ego got too big, and he became too much for his own good, and sort of like, yeah, botched it himself because he was trying. He'd already won, but he wanted more and more and more, and then messed it up big time. It made me think, by the way, in terms of when you said Black Panther, there is actual rumors that in Secret Wars we will be getting a new T'Challa, and the
No.
rumor is it's Damson Idris,
Is
who
that
is, if you don't know that name, it's the young guy who is in F1 with Brad Pitt.
yes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
He's been tipped for quite a long time, and a lot of people have asked him, and he seems to be doing the actor thing of, oh yeah, I don't know anything about this. I've not heard any rumors about this at all, sort of thing. I mean, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. We always have to. I am excited, and the trailer got me more excited, even though it was a trailer of this is a face, this is a face. Here's a cool action bit. This is a face. It did get me excited, even though I didn't see the guy I want to see most.
Well, okay, everyone say who you want to see
Yeah.
most, one after the other. Troy, you go first.
Sentry.
Yeah,
Who is that?
Sentry.
Who's that?
Big Mohawk. No, is it the Mohawk guy?
No, it's Thunderbolts. It's Bob in the
Sorry,
Thunderbolts.
for a second I thought you meant Gladiator
Bob
from the
has a
X-Men
new
universe,
name.
but you mean
Brilliant.
Sentry, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Bob was called Sentry or in Thunderbolts.
He'll be in it. He'll be in it, 100%.
Isn't he
Oh no,
called
he is in it. He's on the poster. That's what I said, Sentry.
It sounds through my speakers like you're saying century. I was like, is this just like some
No,
old... Right, yeah, no, fully agree
Yeah,
with you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be because if you look in the trailer when they're all like congregated in the new Avengers tower, he's sat at the back still eating a bag of like crisps and stuff in his pajamas.
I know
It's
who
going to
Scott's
be a
by the way.
point where he's like reluctant to use the powers and then has no choice but to be like, oh my god, I've got to
Right.
do it, haven't I?
Little side note, in Spider-Man Brand New Day, do you think Daredevil's there? Because he's been in none of the trailers, really, has he?
I don't know, and I really want. I really, really want him
If
there.
they do not show him fighting with Spider-Man in the
I
prison, because
know.
we know he's in the prison, that's a
Against the
missed
hand.
opportunity. Yeah, it's a missed opportunity, surely.
I don't know is my biggest thing. There's things that make me think yes, there's things that make me think no. The thing that makes me think no is how many other people are in this film. Because I don't know if you've seen that Kevin Feige let slip that Yelena's in the film.
Really? Okay.
So there is a cameo from Yelena because Kevin Feige said, obviously, we've got Florence Pugh back for Doomsday, but that will not be the first time you see her in a while.
Yeah.
But the only other
It makes
thing
sense.
is Spider-Man,
Yeah, makes
mate. So
sense.
you've pretty much said that. You've obviously got Punisher, you've got Hulk, you've got so many villains. That's my only thing that's making me think no. The thing that's making me think yes is that scene looks really like someone's been edited out of the footage, and then you've got the hand and a prison.
Yeah.
Where Born Again Season 2 ended, it kind of opens it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Scott,
I
who do you want to
hope
see
so.
in the new one?
Well, I love Thor. So I just want, my thing is just to see like the big, in a way, Rune King Thor, a big,
I was literally
ultra
saying Rune
powerful
King.
Thor. And that's why I was a little bit like, I was like, you know, if he was able to sort of go a little bit toe to toe with Stormbreaker, with Thanos, you know, and a bit. So if Doom is able just to swipe him away like nothing, then again, it's like, all right, big Thor isn't, you know what I mean? So I want Thor to have his moment, you know? I want to have his big moment again. I don't want him just to be swiped across. And remember, he's got his daughter now, hasn't he? Who's like half eternity and super powerful. So would she turn up? Who knows?
How about you, Charlotte?
Agatha. I think Agatha is going to be at all times incredibly unhelpful, and I think that's a character trait I share with her. I think everyone's going to be fighting, and she's going to be hovering behind Billy like, missed that shot, should have hit him. But like, no, it's intriguing. I like Agatha, and Shang-Chi, I'm excited to see because I don't quite know how they're going to fit in, but they are some of my favorite and most well-developed characters.
Shang-Chi,
So
that
I'm
film,
like,
that was one of my favourite.
yeah, the music for Shang-Chi
Yeah.
is one of the best of the Marvel lot.
Yeah, I like that
Yes.
film.
Yeah,
Totally
it was
agree.
a really good mix of like comedy, but like it will be nice to see him interacting properly with all the other Avengers, hopefully, because he's been kind of isolated. And I was like, bring the guy in. He's got the history. He's got the Seven Rings stuff. Like he could have been brought in quite a while ago. I've been kind of waiting. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I want DD in an Avengers film. I want him as a bloody Avenger. Charlie's earned it now. Charlie's
Yeah.
earned it. Hawkeye was an Avenger. It's flipping better than him.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You take that back. Hawkeye's like so cool.
He's
It's right.
cool, but he could easily get twatted by Daredevil.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is looking way into the future, but one of the things we've said is like Doomsday. It feels like damage control. Is this going to work and everything? After reading comics for so long, I have no idea how you put Secret Wars on screen.
It's so Secret Wars, that involves the Beyonder, doesn't it?
Secret Wars is the Beyonder, but you also have Battle World,
Yeah.
which
So Charlotte, do you know who the
mental.
Beyonder character?
I have not read the comics. Like I'm going in fully blind. So
He's
feel free
like,
to-
what would
right, okay,
What would you describe it? He's a god, more than a god. He's
yeah,
super race.
God. He's like fourth wall breaking God. Like he knows that what's going on, kind of thing.
Yeah, and he basically transports them all
yeah.
to a battle planet to fight.
You know what? I like this guy.
Mm.
That's-
Henry Cavill.
that
Isn't
yeah.
Henry Cavill supposed to be up
God,
for
no,
that?
not another
Isn't he?
one. No,
No, it's
I don't
it's
want him.
Liam Hemsworth, isn't it?
No, but yeah, Battle World. It's what it is they use Battle World as a way to save everything. So there's all the incursions, you know, like in Doctor Strange, where all the planets are going to smash together and they die. They use Battle World as a way to save everything. So rather than everything collide, they mix everything into one. So there's different areas of Battle World. So you can go to one place in Battle World and it's all medieval. You can go to another place in Battle World and it's totally futuristic. You can go to another area and everyone are Hulks. It's so topsy-turvy, and I'm just like, how the hell do you do that?
I think you
On
could
a
because they
movie.
did it in Doctor Strange, like falling through the different worlds. I don't think it's that big of a jump, and from the way you're
But they did
describing
that very
it sounds
quick.
a bit like the way they did Ragnarok, where they're like they've landed on another planet. Here's an establishing shot. Now run with it.
It's going to be very quick.
Yeah, it's just the fact you've got a lot of places to go to.
Yeah. I get you.
But I mean, we've got to get one movie out of the way first before we get to that. Yeah. One thing I do like is the fact that because of all this stuff we don't with Downey and everything and all that, because it's different everything, I cannot pinpoint where this film's going to go story-wise at all, and I quite like that. And I hope they don't spoil that too much in trailers by giving me everything. I want to go in. I really like what they've done with Spider-Man, that we still don't know who the villain is. We still have no idea who that main villain is. We obviously know who the villain is in Doomsday, but don't tell me why or anything until I get there.
Yeah.
What is going on exactly? I want to go in completely blind story-wise. Show me cool shit that gets me in the seat.
I think
But
so. In the trailer, is Doom talking about something more bad or something? That what he's saying could Doom in this be very much aware that the Beyonder is going to come and screw things up? So he's the bad guy we need in a way.
I think because in the comics he's very morally grey. So sometimes he is the hero, but does things that no one else wants to do in order to save everything. So I'm wondering whether we're going to get into this and Doom is not going to be he's going to be a villain, but trying to save it at the same time. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, Agatha did that. That's a really good example of Agatha is 100% the villain. And then you're like, oh no, she's just like, trying to do whatever she was trying to do at the time. Like, I think it works really well because like any character that's a strong character you fall in love with, and then you're rooting for them. So if you can do that flip well, then and flip him back to be, but then you're almost stuck in that trap of now Robert Downey Jr. is back on the good side and he's one of the strongest again.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the biggest things that everyone seems to be forgetting that is definitely, I think, who is going to play a massive part in this film is Franklin Richards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how old
because
is how
he's
old is he in
literally,
this?
he'll be about, I think they said he's going to be about 6 or 7 years old, so he's going to start being able to use his powers and stuff, which he is by far, in Marvel, potentially the most powerful character in existence.
Yeah.
Baby.
He's
Pardon?
everything. He's so
Little
powerful.
baby.
Yeah.
He the way you're talking about him is in my head. I've got the baby from The Incredibles in my
Yeah.
head.
Pretty much.
Literally.
Yeah.
But I don't
Pretty
know if
much,
they're gonna
but more.
I don't know if they're gonna nerf him, make him a little bit weaker than what he is in the comics.
Maybe a
That would
little bit. Like, in the comics, he can literally create universes with a snap of his finger.
Yeah.
He is just ridiculous.
But he is a
like,
good guy. He is a good guy, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
But is Doom going to use him?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we did see Doom babysitting.
Yeah.
And that's worrying.
Yeah. Babysitting.
What else was he doing? He was sitting next to baby.
I know.
Like, you know.
I also don't want Downey to take the mask off and be just completely Downey. I want it to be, you can see that it's him, but he is scarred to hell.
I don't want his quips. I don't want that Tony Stark quips or anything like that.
No.
I don't want the same character. If it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm
before this,
excited.
we are getting the re-release of Endgame. I don't know if you know about that.
With 7
With
minutes extra footage.
7 minutes extra footage, which the part of that will be an end scene that leads into Doomsday.
Yeah.
Because it said that
what's that being released
Doomsday,
on though? Is that in the cinema?
Cinemas.
Do you think it will maybe bring the X-Men into it more? Because, like, as of currently, they've popped up, like, once or twice. And I think if you're going to bring in the X-Men in as, like, a big plot point, you need to bring them in now.
What about, what's her name? Captain Marvel lady that ended up in the X-Men universe. Where's she going to have a part in it, actually?
Photon.
Yeah.
Potentially, I think there's a lot of characters left out. So they have actually said that Doomsday takes place directly after Endgame.
Right.
So the way I'm seeing it is something happens at the end of Endgame, which triggers something. Doom starts to put his plan in motion at the end of that, and it's taken all this time where we've seen everything else for him to actually initiate it. That's the only way I could think of saying
Maybe they
that.
put it... Sorry, after you.
A little clip in the trailer, it looks like Loki. I don't know which Loki this is. I don't think it's the time god. It looks like he's in Steve's house.
Yeah, it's this is the thing. I was like, that's TVA Loki, and we know he's got a new outfit. So I guess your options are, if you were going for drama, you'd go off Robert Downey Jr.'s snap, and maybe you'd have Doom seeing that and being like, I'll have him, / his body, / whatever. And or Loki, while he's jumping around with the tempad, does something else that we don't see, because he spends a lot of time in that, like, loop thing.
Wait, is Deadpool going to be in this?
Oh, I hope
We
not.
don't
He's
know.
so fucking annoying.
We're getting Deadpool
The
4.
first Deadpool film was brilliant, and ever since then, he's just been irritating.
We are getting Deadpool 4, by the way. Ryan Reynolds has pretty much confirmed that.
Do you think he's going to be in this, though?
We don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be in Secret Wars because we saw that thing with Thor crying in Deadpool Wolverine. They're going to try and touch on that, aren't they? But
do you think we'll
I
ever
do
get
like...
Gamora back?
No, she's gone.
She's still alive.
Yeah, somewhere.
I think she's alive.
Back the Ravagers.
And Black Widow,
I think you'll see Zoe Saldana pop up in DC somewhere because she wants to work with James Gunn.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be cool.
So I think she'll transfer over. But I like how we are speculating a lot with the story because we know nothing. And that's how I prefer a lot of it.
And then if any of us are right, we can cut back to this after the film and be like, we're just really professional and good.
We did that. Me and Dex did that at the start of Born Again because we got to episode 2 and I then straight away went, right, Dex, this is how it's going to end. And I literally nailed it. And I'm not like too very on. I literally was like, Kingpin's going to leave. He's going to want to go on an island. It's all going to be acquitted. And then Matt, because he's going to get found out of who he is going to be in prison for his crimes. And
then he's going to pop back up in Spider-Man. I'm calling it now.
Don't. Also, my Daredevil suit is nearly done. Season 3 suit is nearly done already.
I'm looking at all the Daredevil stuff behind you, and I'm like, yes, boy.
It's just full of it.
My chair, which I fully fucking covered up, is an Iron Man chair. So, like, I am like the biggest Iron Man fan ever, which is partially why I feel like so aggro about the fact they might ruin it. I'm like,
the only
don't
comic book,
ruin my boy.
All my comic books are at the bottom. But I do have a nice, lovely old 1970s Superman right there. There you go.
Very nice.
I
Yeah.
don't understand this pillow because it looks incredible, but why would I want my head to be like 5 feet off the back of my chair? Maybe it's for podcasts only.
I'll give them the Robert Downey thing if they don't go back on his death in Endgame, and he is dead.
Yes.
They don't.
Yeah.
They best not try and make it that is rectified or something. That version of
Retconned.
Tony
He survived.
needs to be dead, because that if they don't, that takes away everything from what's happened before. Same with like what I know it's not to the same extent, but Deadpool and Wolverine did with Logan.
Yeah.
They didn't try and bring back the one we'd seen for decades and the one that actually had the most touching story in Logan, which, although that opening of Deadpool 3 is hilarious, it didn't take
Mhm.
away from the fact of what we got in Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He
I'm getting Game of Thrones season 8 vibes. It's if you don't stick the landing, everyone is going to cultural reset to before this film and they're not going to want to watch again. And like if you think that they will watch again, but it will be in like an aggressive way. Like Game of Thrones fucked it on the last season and nobody has let them forget it. Like it probably would have still been way bigger if they hadn't done it. They
Yeah.
cannot do that to this film with all the characters and actors that we know because the stakes are way too high.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so that's an Avengers trailer discussion that went mad. Half an hour on Avengers.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Woo!
As it should be.
Right, on to the big thing that came out, the Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
I think we'll start with me and Dex usually give scores for everything. So I want to know, like, out of 10, what you gave it. Go on, I'll start with Scott. Go on.
So after the film and today, I was a bit like, is it an 8? Is it an 8.5? I can't. It's somewhere. So I gave it an 8.3. Very precise.
Mhm.
It's somewhere in between. I
Okay.
can't. I don't think it's an 8.5. I don't think it's an 8. It's somewhere in between. 8.3 is mine.
Charlotte?
Going for an 8.
Okay.
Like, yeah. There's reasoning. I don't think I'd ever really give much
No,
a 10.
it's fine.
But yeah, 8 for me.
Okay, so I went 9.5 because I was so mad on this.
Mm-hmm.
There are things, even for me, even a 10 is not perfect.
Yeah.
I would never say anything is fully perfect, and I have my reasons for even dropping it down that little bit. I mean, if I rethought, like, now, I would probably go 9, because there's a little other thing that's like after reflection, but my initial straight thoughts was like cinematic wise and how this looks and everything. This is maybe one of the most stunning things I've ever seen.
Before we do into the film, can we just do where we've each come at it from? Like, did you know it before? Where did you know it from? Have you studied it? Whatever. Because I think that context is probably quite important for like how people have taken it.
Yeah. So I think I'll say that my main thing. I mean, it's obvious. My name's Troy, like obviously. So my main thing has come from the Trojan part, like the siege of Troy and everything, and then I haven't read the book, so I really struggle with reading. My dyslexia really holds me back in terms of like literally sitting and reading. So my main thing is from like YouTube videos and podcast bits and stuff. So I didn't know the exact every single little detail. I knew the main plot points of like Odysseus is here because of this and this and this and about Polyphemus and the bits like that. So I probably didn't know as much detail as you guys maybe did. But I knew the basis of what I was going into. I knew the ending already.
Yeah. So I studied it. Well, I read it as a bedtime story as a kid. So this is like
As you
I'm
do.
fucking invested.
As you do. I mean,
My dad.
some kids have the Gruffalo.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, I had like Lord of the Rings and like the Odyssey. My dad had a book of old myths, so we did old myths.
Charlotte
Yeah,
had
it
this guy.
explains a
Dad
lot.
going. Charlotte
But,
had this guy going. Yeah. So there's this guy Paris who really wants to shag this girl called Helen.
No, for real. Absolutely for real. Like it's so good. So I grew up with that, and then I did 7 years of Latin compulsorily at school and classics, during which I studied the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the Aeneid. Some in language, some not, some different versions. So I've done mostly the Odyssey and the Aeneid, and then I did, as part of my dissertation on Hamlet, I also did part of the Odyssey. So I am coming at it from quite like I've grown up with the story and the texture, and like 90% of the stuff I read and absorb is all Greek mythology, like Greek stuff. So like I knew exactly what happens in the epic poem. However, I'm fine with it being different.
Yeah.
Scott. Man
So
about history, Scott.
I put it on here. I've stacked them up. You know, the Aeneid, the Odyssey, Iliad, the Iliad, a really nice version, and then Stephen Fry's amazing
Stephen Fry.
retellings. Like, and Stephen Fry's Odyssey retelling is my favorite actual version of it. I just think it's
Mhm.
brilliant.
Is there an audiobook version of that?
Yes,
Yes,
and
there
he
is.
reads it. He
Amazing.
reads it.
It's
I listened
amazing.
to
It's
it.
Right, okay.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to
And
go away and find that because that's a medium I can just be like building something and sit and listen to.
Yeah,
And
if
perfect for
anyone's
me.
listening and is like, I don't know where to get into it, just listen to Stephen Fry read the audiobook. He makes it modern user friendly, quick, easy, but makes everything very accurate.
so for me, I didn't grow up with them. So when I did my degree when I was like 31 in classics, that's where I was introduced to this world. I knew I loved ancient Greek history and Rome, but this is when I prefer the Iliad to the Odyssey. I prefer part one. That's my favorite. The Wrath of Achilles. I just love it. But I do love the Odyssey. And so I can, when I watch a film, if it's historical based or that type of stuff, or people want it to be, I can take off my history head sometimes and just sit back and enjoy the film for what it is. The first film that ever got me into history was Braveheart. Okay, William Wallace, up against the English. It's not historically accurate in a lot of places. William Wallace in the film has a relationship with the French princess. In reality, she was 3 years old. That never happened. The Battle of Stirling Bridge in the film didn't happen on a bridge. Happened in a field, but it's called Stirling Bridge because it happened on a bridge. But Mel Gibson didn't go out to try. That was just his version of it. And there was artistic license, which is great, but it still has the core of the story. And I'm always a firm believer, like I was with this one, because we know how much hate was pushed out online about it not being 100% accurate to the OG. I'm like, this is an adaptation. That's it. This is Christopher Nolan's way of doing it. This is his vision for it. So just enjoy it. And if it's a gateway for people to then discover the classics.
Yeah.
I've said this to many people. If someone's watched this film and gone, wow, these stories are amazing, and they end up reading all this stuff, I prefer it if they started with the OGs. Amazing. It's got them into it. It doesn't matter if the armor looks medieval, or they're sailing in a Viking ship and not an ancient Mycenaean ship. It's an adaptation. And if, let's say you take Greece, they must have a cultural department. If they want their own film, finance it, make it, do it. I will watch that one too. I will watch anything that comes out to do with Greek mythology, and I will hopefully love it.
Yeah.
My little rant.
So, no, it's good. Let's go into why you gave that score. I don't know if you want to hear mine first, because obviously I was the higher score in that and everything. So my main thing as a film critic eye, I found the first 20 minutes like very, very jumpy. I found it like it was interesting. It obviously had a lot of people to introduce, and I don't feel as though it did it in the best way it could have done. It was like Odysseus, then we're going here, then we go here, then we go here, then we go here. We're going back to Trojan War. We're going here, we're going here. And it felt like very jumpy. And then it did settle down with that. And it was when Charlize Theron sort of like popped up for the first time and it was Odysseus telling her, try and remember your memories and that. That's when it started to settle down and not jump around as much. But the first 20 minutes, I was genuinely like, God, is this what the whole thing's going to be like?
Interestingly, that is how the book starts. So the book starts with Odysseus telling the story to someone. So it starts very jumpy. So it was interesting that he chose to keep that going, because I wondered if he was just going to go fully chronological to make it easier for people, but he was like, no, fuck everyone, have some snippets.
I was wondering because, when they used to perform Iliad, it takes a few days. Saying the Odyssey's not as long, but it still takes a few days. So I was thinking, God, how are they going to condense that down? And maybe obviously the jumpiness is Christopher Nolan and their rest trying to get all that in to even to a 3-hour film. It could have been so much longer. Yeah. And I did have that sort of moment. I was still, as the film was starting and getting into it, like you said, cinematically, the photography, everything, I was like, whoa. But it was a little bit jumpy. And the thing that it took me probably 10, 15 minutes to get my head around was the American accent. So, and that's no hate. There's no hate to Americans. But obviously, I'm sort of used to hearing, is it bit of a British accent with these type of films? So to hear the characters with American accents, it threw me a little bit, but that soon sort of dissolved as the story kept going. But I was a bit like, okay.
Yeah. I'd say the other little bit that got me very slightly down now I've really thought about it, and this might be quite surprising to some. I'm going to touch on the score. I thought the music was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I just think sometimes it was slightly overused. There was some moments where I didn't want the music and I wanted to be in it a bit more and hearing what they were saying, and that for the first, as I say, for the first, like, I don't know, half an hour maybe, it didn't feel like the music turned off at all. And then
Yeah.
I think it's when we got to the island with the giants that there was the first moment where they walked up, where they're walking up the beach. That was the first point where they turned the music off. And I was like, right, okay, I really like this. I like the silence for a bit.
And it's jarring because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you know about how they did the score, but like Goranson went
Yes, I do,
to
yeah.
an island for like a year or something. And so it's not traditional
It's
instrument.
mad.
So it which is phenomenal. However, it's a lot.
Mm.
And there I
Do you
agree
call
with you,
that
like
method? Is that method composing?
method
Like
score
method
making.
acting? Yeah, like it's
Yeah, kind of,
that's an
yeah.
extreme.
He's the Jared Leto.
I feel like the music is so loud. I've always feel like the music in a Nolan film is like, and I've seen other people say this, is another character. It is literally the
Yes.
music is a character. Like Interstellar for me is still
Yeah.
probably in the top 3, top 2, maybe greatest cinema experiences I've ever had. You know, at the
Mhm.
Showcase X Plus sat there, and I remember leaving it just utterly mind melted, blown sort of thing. And that's when I realized again we got with Inception as well and others that and Oppenheimer, the music is so, and I know it turns some people off. I've seen videos of people complaining that the music was too loud or too much, but it's hard. It's a hard one. I enjoyed it myself. I thought it was like building.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. I loved it. I thought the music was incredible and everything. I thought it was phenomenal. I just think it needed to be less used at some certain moments.
It's interesting because
Really.
I marked it down for a similar reason, but I came at it from a completely different point of view, which is Odysseus in the epic poems and retellings or whatever. He is not dead serious all the time. There are
Mm-hmm.
real moments of like levity and lightness and like the men just getting on, or like him being clever, and there's joy. And like I think Mary Beard came out and said this a few days ago, as did my dad. Weirdly, we'll shout out to my dad again. But like it was really tough because it felt like it was a huge amount of like one note. There you go. The woman herself. There was like a huge amount of one note of like, and it kind of has to be because it is an epic, but we never got a break. Like it went from like Polyphemus to this to that, and you're like, but there was journey time in between. So I think we lost a little bit of the like nuance of the crew dynamic because you don't see them joking and laughing as much. Like we
Charlotte,
saw all the drama.
what did you think of the Polyphemus scene?
I loved that.
I thought it was terrifying.
I was so scared of Polyphemus as a kid. I was like, the only bit I was sad about is they didn't get the nobody reference in there, because that
This is what I was
one
going
of
to
the
say.
most, it's one of the most recognized myths that people know as kids as a
Do you
separate
wanna-
thing to everything else.
Do you want to explain what that is? Because obviously we're on the pod, like, what if there's something historical that's in the book that isn't in the film, please just go for it and say
the one
what
thing,
the
like
differences
Charlotte
that
said,
they've missed.
Yeah,
I
you
said
go
to
for it.
Charlotte, it's the one thing that I was like, because I don't think it would have taken anything away from the story to add in. It would have been so easy. Like, so imagine Charlotte is Polyphemus and I'm Achilles, and he does blind him. He does stab his eye. Okay. And, you know, Polyphemus wants to know who's done it, doesn't he? And what does he say, Charlotte?
Who's blinded me?
And Odysseus says, nobody, because he's smart, he's clever, he's devious, you know? And so Polyphemus being a little bit, I think, probably didn't get many GCSEs there. He sort of was like, oh, it's nobody then. And then there are other Cyclops, don't they? Because they ask him when they escape, they ask Polyphemus, who done this to you? And
He goes,
Polyphemus
nobody
says,
blinded me. Nobody blinded me. And they're like, okay, shut the fuck up then.
exactly.
Like all
So
of the other Cyclops are like, then be quiet. But it's that level of stupidity. It's why it's so funny.
And I don't know why they didn't put that in. They went for the typical just escape, like hero escape sort of thing, getting chased by the monster. But I thought they took a lot away from Polyphemus's character in that way. He become just the
mind.
mind. Yeah.
Like, that's a
He does.
massive plot point about Polyphemus is I don't know if you know this, Troy. You can tell me to shut up if you don't.
Yeah, he's a
Polyphemus' whole
shepherd,
thing is
isn't he?
like he's a shepherd and he's obsessed with the
Yeah.
sheep, especially one. And so the reason he reacts badly is because he comes back and they've killed some of the sheep to eat. So you're like, it's one of those moments where you're meant to, when you're reading it, even as a kid, be like, well, Odysseus and his men have done a bad thing and they hurt him first. And then obviously he becomes a threat because he's bigger and he's killing them. But ultimately, like, Odysseus isn't just trapped in a cave. Like, they go
Yeah.
in, steal from him, do a whole bunch of stuff, hurt him, make a fool of him. And so when he curses them to Poseidon, that's why Poseidon is so angry, because he's like, you've injured my son and it was your fault in the first place.
Yeah, they kind of made him into the monster that he looks like in the film, rather than making him into the character that he is in the book.
Interestingly, though,
I-
I found out they shot in the cave where they actually believe historically the people that live there genuinely believe Polyphemus lives.
That's cool. That's
Wow.
really cool. I like that.
I knew they used puppetry to do him.
Yes,
It
I've
was
seen a picture of
massive
it.
puppet.
They had to drill into the wall to do it, and apparently it took them ages to get permission to drill into it because the cave is of such, I'm using air quotes, historical significance, in that they genuinely think Polyphemus lived there, in obviously, again, air quotes. But they eventually got permission to do it, which I think is just really cool.
Yeah, I found the scream he lets out when they actually stab him in the eye went through me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally was bone chilling. I've
It's the
never
whole idea
heard
of
anything
blinding,
make
isn't
that
it?
sound before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
And like,
sound
you're
I've never
not
heard
meant
off
to
the
root
film
for the
before.
men. I think like you understand why the men are doing it, but it's fucking vindictive and it's evil. And it's like, you know, they want to escape and they're desperate, but I don't think
Yeah.
anyone sits there and is like, I'm comfortable with them doing it.
Charlotte, I was wanted
Yeah.
to ask you something when we were watching it, because I don't know if it's because I was speaking to a couple of my female historian friends, and one of them in particular said that, and especially with Calypso's character,
Mhm.
she didn't think that the women in the film were written very well, and that it was a bit misogynistic. I didn't get any of that. I thought Calypso was written well. I
No,
thought she did a good
no,
job.
no, no, no,
I
no,
thought
no.
Penelope was great.
Penelope
What's
was
your
great.
view?
Penelope was phenomenal. Cersei was phenomenal. I think those two they nailed. I think using Zendaya as like the young girl to represent Athena was really good, but I think her just turning up occasionally, like shaking her head at people, was like fine, whatever.
I
Okay.
wanted to see more gods. I'll put it out there. I want to see
Calypso
yeah.
I didn't like, because Calypso is a really interesting character. She lives on this island, Agigia, which you cannot find unless the gods like send you there. But they send her one guy every like 10-ish years, and her whole like torture is that he will never stay. So she knows he's going to leave, and that's the kind of dichotomy of like she's desperate for these men to stay, but she knows they're going to leave, and so she's kind of evil for trying to keep them, knowing they're going to stay. Except she's also like a tragic character because she gets put on the island kind of for stuff that's not her fault. So it's a whole big thing. I felt like
I was just
having
going to ask that.
Charlize Theron was brilliant, but I didn't think she was in my head what Calypso is like, because I thought of Calypso as one, much younger. I don't know if I've just like read into it. I think she's a lot younger, and
I think
two, I
she
think
is.
Calypso's quite innocent. In a lot of the stuff I've read, she's desperate for them to stay, and she really genuinely thinks that like the gods have sent her someone that will finally love her. Her curse is no one will. Adding in the forgetting with the lotus flowers was weird, because time is meant to be different on the island, but the lotus flowers are from a different island that they visit second. So like it kind of took away from the fact that there's a lot of like emotional manipulation when he's on the island, and part of it is that Odysseus is disloyal whilst with her because he's not perfect on his journey. He has a kid with Cersei, and I think sleeps multiple times with Calypso, but doesn't
Yeah,
have
he
a kid with
does.
her.
Yeah, he's Odysseus basically on his travels is just going around left, right, and centre banging. You know,
Yeah.
He's not a hero.
He's not a hero.
He's Athena's favorite
No.
because he's so good at lies and deceiving people. You know, that's his thing. But he's a hero. You know, back then being able to talk, orator, and be able to manipulate. You know, that was an attribute, wasn't it?
I
So
did love Penelope. I did love it when she screamed, "The throne has not been empty for 20 years. I've literally fucking been here."
Yeah.
I was like, I think everyone felt that. I also, and I don't know even if you boys had picked up on it, but I mean, you may well have done. I'm making a sweeping generalization. When the men are like, "We're not going to hurt you," and Cersei's like, "You would have done." Fully believe her. I think she's right. You groups of marauding men from a war where they've
Yeah,
raped and
kind of
pillaged
saw
their
it in
way
their
through.
eyes.
Like she was terrified of them,
Mm.
and so her reaction is witchcraft. Which also, I might add, the gods are terrified of Cersei because she's created her own brand of magic. So, like,
Yeah,
Scott, I really struggled with that scene.
she did.
I
Yeah, she
didn't
did.
watch it because the sight of people like eating like that makes me really want to vomit. So I was,
Slurping.
It honestly, it
it's the
was like.
noise. So Scott looked over and I'm there like,
So that's another thing I wanted to touch on, by the way. None of that scene where they're turning into pigs was CGI.
yeah, it was animatronic.
It was all
Nuts.
animatronics and prosthetics and everything. That is insane. Which now, after that scene and the Polyphemus scene, everyone is wondering and telling him that Christopher Nolan's next film should be a horror.
Yeah.
Mm.
What I liked about it, though, because of that, is that, CGI is, people say CGI is getting worse or not, but because she has to manhandle them and manipulate them into it, actually
is
holding
like
an actual
clay.
object, we saw it tactile, we saw the sort of strain, and we saw it was brutal. It was like, yeah, just.
It
It was
was
a
a
bit,
really nice
do you know what
example
it
of like
reminded me of?
women don't have to be delicate. Really nice. Like women are not delicate, and Cersei's been given a lot of like rebranding as like this witch that was wronged, and then Odysseus falls in love with her. So you've got kind of the romantic element. Like she has a kid with him, who, by the way, Penelope ends up remarrying. But I liked that she was terrified and angry, and she was like, and also powerful. And I was like, she doesn't
Do you know
need
what
to be nice, she doesn't need to
the
smile.
transformation reminded me of? Pinocchio, when they turn into,
Yes,
at the
yes,
end.
definitely.
It was
That's
like
a
that
really
type
good
of.
goal.
I remember watching it, and I remember when I was young watching, they turn into donkeys or wherever it is, being like, "Oh my god!" And I remember sat there watching that scene. Charlotte's like, and I'm like, and it was a bit that was good. That he should do a horror. He should do.
Troy, I've got a
I'm
question
trying
for you.
to. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out who. I know I've seen the actress of Cersei somewhere before, and I'm
She
trying
is
to
in
figure out where.
everything. She's in so much stuff.
Is she in
Well,
The
didn't she
Walking
play a
Dead?
nun or something? I'm pretty sure.
She's in June, isn't she? She's the main one in June, Prophecy.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure
She
out. I swear I've seen her in The
No,
Walking
maybe
Dead.
not. She
might be.
is in a lot of things. She's been around for a really long time, and
Yes,
I'm
I
really
have.
pleased that she got a big break.
I think she was in the Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Actually,
She was in The Walking Dead. She is in Minority Report.
Yeah, that's
She
it.
was in The Walking Dead. She played Alpha in The Walking Dead of the Whisperers.
What else
That's
does
where
she?
I knew her
Because I've
from.
not seen Walking Dead much.
Minority Report, The Serpent Queen, The Walking Dead, The Whale,
It's Serpent
Fantastic
Queen. I've seen her
Beasts.
in.
There is tons. Like her list
She's a
is
good
massive.
She's a good actor.
Yeah.
Like it goes back to like 1997.
I
Yeah.
thought,
Sorry, Charlotte. Yes. What did you want to ask me? Yeah.
yeah. So I was just interested to see if you've not come from much of a book background. What did you think of Penelope? Because I know there's been a lot of discourse around like they fleshed out her character and made it more realistic. But like, I just wondered how you like took it.
So I would have, if you'd have asked me, I would have picked that scene as well. The one that you just mentioned. Her screaming, that was just phenomenal. And I thought straight away that like this is perfect casting. As soon as I heard that.
Yeah.
Now looking at it, I kind of get what you mean with not Cersei. There's so many flipping names.
I know they all begin with C.
Yeah, Calypso. I kind of see what you mean. And before you said, I was literally going to ask, so why is she on that island? Why is she on her own? Because it never actually tells you in the film much why
Zeus
she's
curses
there.
her. I think it's something to do with, and I'm really scraping my memory. Like someone falls in love with someone, and she basically takes the fall out. So she's not flawless, but they're like, in order that this can't happen again, you're going to be stuck on an island forever. But she's at least a goddess, if not half one. So she
Pretty
is
sure
going to
she's
live
a goddess.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she will live forever. So it is
Mm.
like a proper Sisyphus type punishment.
Yeah, there is so many demigods and gods all over the bloody place, isn't there? Like,
Nice thousands.
Achilles
realise
is a demigod, technically.
I didn't realize until like a couple of days ago, even though I looked at stuff with Troy and everything, that Helen is meant to be the daughter of Zeus.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
her mum got pregnant with Helen and then Clytemnestra in the same belly. if I remember, and that's
Right.
why Helen's beautiful, super beautiful, and the other sister is not supposed to be. She's supposed to be a little bit. She's still beautiful, but not as Helen of Troy. That really annoyed me, actually. Why did they
We can
scar her
chat about
face?
this. I want to name my first daughter Clytemnestra. It's been vetoed by Arthur, but fine. Can I rant about Clytemnestra for 1 second?
Yeah,
Yes,
go
of
She's
for
course.
it.
You
phenomenal.
can.
And it will tie really nicely into if we talk about Agamemnon. Clytemnestra, in the, like, there's a separate play about her, which everyone argues should be called the Clytemnestra. Agamemnon goes home, having killed their daughter in order to set favourable winds. Now, I will say, as he brings the knife down, she vanishes and is replaced by a goat. So there is rumour that she's spared by the gods, but we'll go with the he killed his.
Aren't
He
there
was
some
willing.
versions that don't? And there's some version that's a
Yeah,
goat,
I
and
think
some versions he
the
does.
emphasis is he was willing to kill her, and whether or not the gods spared her is a different argument.
I
But
think in the
Clytemnestra,
film they definitely went with the daughter is dead version.
daughter is dead, and they made her really young as well because Clytemnestra thinks that she's going to be married off to one of the princes, so she brings the daughter over, and then Agamemnon's like, "We're going to kill her in front of you." So Clytemnestra spends like however many years, like 10 years, standing in her castle, being like, "I'm going to fucking kill him," and has a new like boy toy. When he comes back, she puts a tapestry on the floor with all the gods on it, and he rides back into the courtyard with Cassandra on the back of the chariot, having brought her back as his like spoil of war. He's like, "I'm fucking this woman." So Cassandra's on the chariot screaming that Agamemnon's going to die. Obviously, everyone's ignoring her because that's her curse. Clytemnestra convinces Agamemnon that he's a war hero and therefore should step off the chariot onto this tapestry of all the gods, which is why I think the character of Agamemnon is so well done in this, because he's hubristic to the ninth degree. The gods are obviously fuming. So when and this happens, interestingly, it's a play, so this happens off stage. So you see Agamemnon and Cassandra go and have a bath together, and Clytemnestra and her boyfriend throw a net over the bath and stab them both to death in the bath. It is the most brutal fucking death so it wasn't allowed to happen on stage because it would have offended the gods at the time. So they wheeled them off and wheeled them back on in a bathtub covered in blood because you weren't allowed to do like violence. She is what, and then she just continues to rule with like an iron fist. She's one of the strongest women, I would say, in Greek mythology. And it was annoying to see her kind of like, "I've lured you into a bed and now I'm like stabbing you." Fuck off, bitch. Just stab him in the face, you know, like.
Do you know what
rant
though?
over.
Yeah.
This is why,
It's
Troy. This is why I think
great.
you should read the Odyssey from Stephen Fry, because like we've mentioned, there's different stories with different potential, one that, and what he does in this, he weaves them all together into one, but he explains as well. It's like a doco drama. When he explains, he goes, "Oh, but there's this play that talks about this one, or there's another thing." So definitely give that a read, Troy, or listen.
Yeah, as I say, like, it's stuff that really interests me. My hardest part is my dyslexia really makes me struggle with reading. Like, honestly, I could take a book that's like 300 pages long in the whole thing, and it will take me nearly a year to actually get through it because I have to read so slow.
Do you drive a lot?
Kinda, but not on my own. That's the
I
thing. I'm
I
always
listen
in the
to a lot of
van with someone
audiobooks
else,
in
so.
the car. I do. I listen to a lot of audiobooks in the car. If you're driving a lot,
I listen to podcasts in the morning, so it might be a way of just like, once I finish my podcast for the week, switch to an audiobook and carry on with that. But it's definitely something I want to do.
He does Mythos and he does Heroes, and those are his two books where he takes individual myths one by one, puts them chronologically, so you can listen to it in like bite-sized chunks. So you could listen to him do one myth and then turn off for 2 years and then listen to him do the next myth, which is quite a nice way of getting into it if like it's really overwhelming, and especially if it's an audiobook.
Or, Troy, you can just read Hesiod's Theogony in Works and Days, which is, it's a poem. It's an ancient Greek poem. It doesn't flow as well as the Odyssey, but it is what it is.
Or what I could do is when I go to bed, I give you a call, Scott, and you could read it to me.
What if
story?
me and Charlotte will just come to yours? I don't think Em will mind.
Yeah,
and we'll just read to you.
Out?
Yeah. We have to start with the Gruffalo first, though. Come on.
Out.
Yeah, you know what? Scott and I are going to start a series where we act out Greek myths because we don't live that far from each other.
I'd love to see this bit with the net.
Send them to Troy, and the videos will just be Troy reacting to them.
Yeah, I'd love to see this bath net scene. That would be incredible to see.
Mate, it's like one of the most, apart from Medea, one of the most brutal deaths that I think ever got put in a play. Like, she's a proper Lady Macbeth. But then Agamemnon's asking for it, and I loved him in this film because Agamemnon is a fucking arsehole. And like, I will argue,
Yep.
they ruined the
He's a
premise of it.
crybaby. He's a
He is a cry,
crybaby.
but they ruin the premise a little bit because they do go partially because of Agamemnon. But when Menelaus marries Helen, all of the Greek kings sign a pact, like an actual legal document saying, should Helen be taken, all other Greek captains will come to her defense, which is why Odysseus has to leave, because he signed this document and he doesn't want to. He feigns madness or something, but like it's not just Agamemnon wanting like that. It was a weird change because it doesn't change any plot, but
it's the most, I think it's the most, I loved the character in the film. I did think there was a lot of aura farming, like that phrase.
wouldn't
And I was
you?
like, I
Yeah.
did want him to do more. At one point I was like, I want to see a fight. I want to see Batman Agamemnon fight, and that's not a diss, but I thought it looked amazing. But I did want to see something because he does have his moment. What do they call?
Yeah.
What's the term for it? Shai? I forgot when they have their big moment. Their big each character basically. When you read the epics, it's off my mind. They have a moment where they basically go and fight like a million people and win them.
Chaos. It's their moment of glory.
Their glory, and it's like he has his moment, and it's. I would have liked to have seen that.
I thought he looked incredible. I know it's not historically accurate or anything, but that suit just oozed strength and power and awe and that. But then I kind of liked how when Benny Safdie takes that armor off, underneath it is this not so big just guy.
Yeah.
Listen, like this is the thing.
Yeah.
He is quite weak. Like him and Achilles bicker, and Troy did this quite well. Him and Achilles bicker the whole fucking time over women, over gold, over who's fighting the most. Like he's got a lot of like insecurity, which kind of what makes him quite dangerous.
And he had a perm.
That was yeah, he did. That was one of the things I wanted to ask. The choice to not even show Achilles at all.
I liked it.
He should have. I thought, especially when it to Hades, he should have a conversation with Achilles.
No,
I would like
Achilles
to have
is the
seen
Iliad.
that.
If you're doing the Odyssey, you do the Odyssey. If you're doing the Iliad, you put Achilles in it.
Oh, just a little bit, like a letter. Achilles wrote. Yeah, great. It's fine.
Okay, maybe.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
The problem
I just thought with them showing actually showing
stuff.
I just thought with them actually showing the
Troy.
siege
If
of
they,
Troy and
if they showed
when
the
they
siege
did
of
it,
Troy, yeah,
I would have
or
thought
someone, even if it's not,
at least
even if it's
shown
not.
him.
For me, even if it wasn't like a scene with him, maybe just Odysseus looking and can see this amazing warrior in the distance, and that was it. Even if it was just a little silhouette, something cool, like
Brad Pitt cameo.
or if you look over, he could have looked over, and we see in the distance this warrior take an arrow to their ankle and fall, and that's it.
It would have been in the distance because they were not, and this is going to be a wild statement I'm going to get roasted on. They're not that geographically close to each other in the battle based on who they encounter, because he's by the gate, Odysseus is by the gate, and Achilles fights all the way up to the palace to get Priam.
He's going for it.
He's dead before then. He doesn't even make it that far.
Was he in the horse?
Yeah.
Was Achilles in the horse?
Yeah, he was definitely. He definitely. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I thought he was in the horse. Even like so, that was my thing. I thought with him being in the horse and we see seeds in the horse, you would at least maybe
no. Achilles is not. No, Achilles is
he
dead
not in the
at
horse?
that point. No, Achilles
he dies
is dead.
before
Paris kills him, and Achilles is. It's not his son. It's. I'm trying to think of the Hamlet passage. Achilles is either son or like nephew or something. Is the one who kills Priam. So it's
that is his son. That is his son.
The wrath of Achilles, but it's not Achilles. So Achilles kills Hector. Hector kills like 12 other people. Paris kills Achilles, and then Achilles' son kills
Neoptolemus,
Priam, and all the rest of them.
Yeah,
right.
And then
so
he gets.
Achilles
and then
wasn't in the horse.
No, he wasn't. So he runs in the gates with the Myrmidons and basically goes straight up to the back because Achilles. Well, no, when he is fighting, because he's very much kind of melee. And by the time Odysseus has done this trick, it's like they're kind of down to the last here. Like Ajax is gone, Achilles is gone. It's like, the gods have got bored at that point.
So we should have got a Brad Pitt cameo.
Yeah. We should have got Brad Pitt's body on the walls in front of Troy, and they all just run past
That'd
him.
be great.
But no, it's interesting though. Like I thought it really humanized it, and I said to Scott, "There's one bit where they're all just running past some buildings, and it just looks like some buildings in some town." And I was like, it really, like, slams home the fact that Troy, in inverted commas again, at Troy, he raised a city full of men, women, and children to the ground. It's like a normal city. It's like if London was attacked by Rome, but obviously in like the ancient times. It's a city with people living in it. And I thought it really humanized it to not just have gods and heroes. It was like, these are the men that are like desperately trying to stop them opening the gates, because they know if those gates open, they are all going to die. And it's quite,
Yeah.
I found it really moving. Like I genuinely like shed a couple tears, because I was like, that the fear of knowing that you thought you'd won and you fucked it must be like overwhelming.
One thing that I really liked that they added in, but then more I think about it, the more and how they talk about it. Throughout it, we're getting told, and I think I spoke to you about this last night, Shart, the Sea Peoples. You know, these are a legit event in history around 1200, 1100 BC, where a people who are only really described as a sea people were just causing mayhem in the Mediterranean, in the Aegean. And it's even inscribed on Egyptian walls when Ramesses II went up against them. They were the only ones. And then it caused a thing called the Bronze Age collapse. I love that they mentioned that, because the fall of Troy happens in 1198 or 1200 BC. The Bronze Age collapses around the same sort of time. So I'm like, he's trying to mix in a little bit of actual history with it, which was cool, you know. But then I did think it was, and my friend mentioned this as well, that it got to a point where I was thinking, is it a lot of that like self-prophesizing throughout near the end, where they just keep talking about there are people going to talk about this for a long time, and the collapse of a Bronze Age civilization. I'm like, well, how aware are you of the whole place, you know, the whole Mediterranean? And I don't know if it was just like they hit that note and then kept hitting it, and I didn't know if it was like I think about it, I'm like, did they need to keep mentioning it as much as they did? But I did like the fact that they talked about it and introduced that sort of historical element that is true.
Yeah. I've got a little nitpick, and it is a nitpick. I thought the horse looked incredible, but I found it so unbelievable. It just looked too perfect.
Well, when in the Odyssey, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the horse is described that it looks very smooth and very sleek and very nice.
Yeah, so it's specifically
Right.
it's bigger. I think they made it too small. So
It did look small.
the genuine thing that they did with it is the way they goad the Trojans into taking it into the city is they're like, we've built a statue so big that you can't have it, because you'd have to remove one of the gates of Troy to get it in. So when they bring the horse in, the Trojans have to literally dismantle the stone gate to get the horse through. And that's why they think that they're getting like a good deal, because they're like, the Greeks didn't think we could have this, and we could. So I thought it was a tiny bit on the small side. However, I loved the like seeing people inside it and being like, they're drowning. It's awful.
That was amazing. Yeah. And they were in there
I
for
liked
days.
Menelaus. Did you like Menelaus? I thought that was cool.
Bernthal, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Another helmet I want to make. Another helmet I want to make, because his helmet was sick.
And he's bald in this. So, and I think it annoyed you, Shire, wasn't it? Because it's another redhead character from a film.
Menelaus are both ginger, and I'm putting my foot down right now. They were famously ginger twins, and I will say this and I'll say it again. My nickname at school, my ginger best friend's nickname, we're in a classics group, and we were Swagger Memnon and Menelaus for good fucking reason. So I understand the black hair thing, but when Troy makes me this armor, you'll see how good it will look on a redhead. Yeah. And that's the whole. It's just pride now, but no. Like, I agree with you.
Thing is, I know we're nitpicking through it, but it still hits really well.
Oh, yeah. I was going to touch on, we've touched on Polyphemus and how he looked, but I wanted to touch on all the creatures things we obviously saw, like the giants. I know they've got a specific name, but Charlotte will know what they're called.
I said the Stygian, I'm wrong. The Cyclades? I actually don't know how to say it. I've only seen it written down.
Cycladic?
Yeah. It begins with a C, and they are technically cannibal giants, and they actually come across them first.
I'm pretty sure they're naked.
What did you think to them?
Pardon?
I just said, what did you think to them? What did you think to how they were depicted?
I didn't think they were as scary as they should have been, because Odysseus starts off, I think this was a scale issue as well, with filming like they were filming. Odysseus starts off with 600 men and like 12 ships. And then when they meet the giants, cannibals kill almost all of the remaining ones, so they are then down to like one ship or something. So there's I thought they were really cool, and I thought the way they made the trees move made me feel very ill, but in a great way. But there wasn't the body horror aspect of like they are cannibals. And I thought when that kid turned around, he was going to have like an arm in his mouth or something, and they didn't. But again, I'm like, is that just like a scale issue of like you've already got the fact they're meant to be giants? Was that just a step too far?
I know a lot of people have been complaining about the armor is a big thing, and especially with the giants here. You know, a lot of people saying it looks too medieval. It looks, but you know, we've got gods in its mythology, so I don't really. Again, that's another aspect that didn't really bother me at all. I thought they could probably be a little bit bigger. I thought they're just not giants; they're just tall. They're just basketball
They were
players.
7 foot. I think most of the giants
So
7 foot, and stunt people were 5 foot. Is how they did it.
I would say, have you seen how they filmed it?
I know Matt Damon was a woman.
Yeah, it was. They used false perspective and the fact that all the men were either very small men or short women were playing the parts of the soldiers, compared to literally like normal sized or fairly tall guys as the giants to do the false perspective.
That's really cool, actually.
I mean, I do
Practical
really like
filmmaking.
how a lot of this is practical. Like the whirlpool was
That was
practical.
cool. Yeah.
How did they do that?
They did it with jet skis.
Really?
So they put jet skis and they went round and round and round in circles. All they did is edit the middle and the jet skis out.
Fair.
That's cool. You know the scene? Remember the scene where it's a very quick scene, but you see dolphins jump out?
Yes, apparently that was
yeah.
a fluke.
Yeah, just fluke. What an amazing.
I'd like
Mad.
everyone to appreciate my sea creature pun there that none of you picked up on.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Fluke
I
is
also
what-
kind of like how
fluke
how
is
it
a
shows
whale's
that
tail.
Matt Damon is very much professional because he didn't react when he saw the dolphins and just carried on in character.
Yeah. I think the best monster, quote unquote, was the sirens. Hands down, best way of doing the sirens I've ever seen. And I have the
I'm trying to
quote.
think now. When could we hear them singing in the film? I'm trying to think.
Well, no, this is the interesting bit. So when Eurylochus puts the wax in his ears, it muffled it. But the themes that play were the Troy theme, the Penelope theme, and the Ithaca theme mixed together in the background. And the words that he says afterwards is, I told you what you want most is what you most can't have, and what you most can't have is what you already had and lost. It was the song of all the promises I failed to keep, which ties in with all those musical themes and the fact that it's very close to the book translation of what the Sirens song is. Like, there's nothing you can play musically that will make us as humans individually with all our different experience understand the Sirens. But watching him scream, I was like, I think I know what you're hearing, if that makes sense. Fucking brilliant.
They are just meant to the naked eye. They are literally just beautiful women. That's what they're meant to be able to see, isn't it? Because that's what I know it didn't show you properly what they looked like, but you sort of could see them.
Yeah, they look like naked women
such.
from far away, and then when you get closer, and I'm getting confused with harpies. One of them are half fish, half woman. One of them's half chicken, half woman. Is it harpies or half chicken?
I think harpies are harpies
Aren't
have
aren't
wings.
they
I know that.
Harpy's body of a bird and a head of a human.
Yeah, so maybe it is
Let me have a
sirens that are
look.
half chicken as well. There's
Let me
there's
have a
like a
quick-
whole mix of different ones, but the sirens are not pleasant up close. But I think the thing, and like you see it in so many different mediums, like it's in Percy Jackson and stuff. Like, what would the siren song mean to you? And I'm really pleased that they didn't try and interpret it, because I think that would have ruined it, because everyone would have been like, well, that's not what I would hear.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a bit of a mix throughout different historical things. So there are, in the Greek mythology, it looks like they are with wings. They have wings and they are. But then there is other mythologies that have seen them as more like mermaids.
I think it's
such
more
as sirens,
Celtic
so they
when they're
are.
more like mermaidy, but they're
Yeah,
not.
it
They're
just
not
seem-
nice.
Yeah,
But I think
no.
if I was listening to a siren song, I'd hear like a little oven timer and someone be like, oh, the roast potatoes are done. And I'd be straight over the side of that ship, swimming away.
Charlotte, have you, going back to what I think Troy said a bit earlier about, with the Cyclops and scene and stuff, that he could do a horror, just popped in my mind. Have you ever read Dante's Inferno?
Why would you out me like this? I have read 3 parts of Dante's Inferno, but not the whole thing yet, because we did it in 1 week at uni, and I desperately need to read it.
I've never read it, but I know of it and I've watched videos on it. But now I think, Troy, I think that would be probably the best type of horror film for Christopher Nolan to do.
Yes.
Because it's
For
epic.
real, yeah.
It's a poem. It's an epic poem again. It has Greek mythology in it, it has Catholicism. Like, whether it's all mixed. Like there's different stages of hell. I think there's 8, and it's just
Yeah.
mental. So yeah, I think if someone can get that idea to Christopher Nolan, I think that would be amazing.
I've played the game. Played Dante's Inferno, the game.
There's a game?
Yeah, it's quite an old one now, but yeah, there's a game called Dante's Inferno, and I think you go down the stages of hell in the game.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I
That's
think
cool.
Christopher
pretty
Nolan
cool.
understands like visceral emotion really well. And like I am although Scott can attest to this, I stood at the back for some of the film because the vibration was way too much. I mean, we were like at the back anyway, but I stood up because it was like uncomfortable at points. It was the Odeon IMAX is not big.
We haven't pointed out the fact that you two watched this how it's originally done.
Yeah.
I got free tickets. Christopher Nolan himself awarded me free tickets, and I'll fucking take that to my grave. Yeah, briefly, for the no context, ages ago when they sent out pins to influencers, they sent out Athena's pin and it had a code on it. And the code linked to an Instagram post, and the Instagram post led to the Discord channel because Christopher Nolan is a massive like puzzle fan and like online marketing fan. So I'm sure you guys know for Batman, he did that whole like Joker website thing.
The Joker thing, yeah.
In the Discord, there are 100,000 people, and only 150 of us were actually doing the riddles. So like, there are loads of separate channels in it, and one of the channels was the cast were releasing videos into the Discord channel with clues. So Matt Damon popped up and was like, "Here is a clue to a coordinate, and here is a clue to a character," and it was the BFI IMAX in London, and I happened to have just finished work, and I was like, there's a tube strike on, I reckon I can get there before anyone else. So I won one of 16 bones, I think, from the actual film, which is pretty sick, and I'm never gonna stop going on about it, but also tickets to IMAX, which I think was really cool because it being so big, it actually felt like I was there. Like I like taking pictures in 4:5 type aspect ratio. I think it was so immersive because it wasn't just their heads. Like you're seeing what their hands are doing. Like when Anne Hathaway's talking to Odysseus when they were lying in bed together, I was thinking about it and I was like, if you're watching this in a smaller format, it's not gonna be ruined, but her hands are fidgeting the whole time. And it like really adds to like the angst of it. And I think when it's cropped, you won't really see that. I was like, it's nice to see like a whole body acting instead of just like a head.
Yeah. So I saw it in IMAX, obviously just regular IMAX. I would have loved to have seen it in the 70mm.
How
What
much is
regular
cut off?
IMAX?
Yeah, what's cut off?
So there is a bit cut off. You can go online. It's not as much. So I could see her hands, but nowhere near as much. Like if you go online, you can the people have put photos and depicting the different aspects. I mean, a regular cinema screen is so much cut off. It's mad how much has been cut off. You can't even see the top of Agamemnon's crest, the plume, when Odysseus bows down in front of him gets on his knees. You can't see the top of the helmet.
I wonder if in like the showcase's X Plus screen, because that's their biggest screen. I wonder how much you can see on that.
Yeah, you can see more on that. That was what people were recommending. But it's a really interesting one because I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, it's literally like the poorer you are, the less of it you can see, which I think is genuinely quite a funny take. But James Cameron, way back when he did Avatar, and the reason there's such a big pause on Avatar is cinema screens at that point, which are still the same as they are today, were basically due a mega up. So they all would have been kind of like IMAX, except there was like a lull in the film industry. And so they just didn't get upgraded. So what I quite appreciate is that directors like Chris Nolan are like, I've now got the clout to film how I want to and how I think it should be filmed. And if you can't see it, you can't see it, and you'll still get a version of it. But I'm not going to let the fact that most people can't see it stop me from making it how I want to. And I'm like, that's where art comes in. Like I agree that it felt so much better seeing like someone's hands and arms. Like I don't want a cropped in close up of someone's face. I want to see like, are they picking their fingernails because they're scared? Are their feet fidgeting? Like it was weird how much it affected the fact that I was like, I feel like I'm standing in like the suitors hall with them.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes a difference. I've had friends who have said, "Oh, should I go and see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you have to go and see it in an IMAX screen, even if it's not the BFI."
Where's the closest one to you, Troy? Is it London?
Sheffield.
Sheffield.
Sorry, like you mean like the BFI proper, like
the big one, the proper
IMAX.
one, yeah.
There's only one. It's London.
Probably. I think it's London. It's
The
BFI.
only two 70mm screens in London are the Science Museum and BFI London.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I would love to see
I
it
feel
in
so
BFI
sorry
at
for
some
people that
point.
can't.
Definitely, yeah.
I do
What's
feel
quite
sorry
funny
for
is
people
that
that can't get it.
there's 41 in the world, and 8 of them are in LA, which I think is quite a funny stat. But what's
Wow.
interesting is Christopher Nolan uses the BFI Waterloo to run takes of the film. So when I won my thing, I was chatting to them. They were like, Chris Nolan comes in here all the time and screens his films to himself to check them. So we kind of saw it on the screen he saw it on, which I thought was kind of
That's
fun.
cool.
But
That is cool. That is
I've just
really
had a
cool.
thought, which is Troy would make an incredible Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
the
that'd be
lighting
a
on
coward.
Troy right now. He actually do genuinely have like Anticlus vibes in a good way.
I've done Pattinson and Batman before.
Have you
You have done
actually?
that, actually. Yeah, you have actually.
Yeah.
Mate,
That's
look,
been
get another
delayed.
helmet. Make another
That's been
helmet.
delayed, isn't it? Troy.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah, it has been delayed. But I'd rather them get it right. And then that's the thing with delays. I'd rather them take the time and give me something that's better than just rushing something and chucking it out. It's the problem with games a lot. They just rush them out and then be like, oh, we'll patch it when it's out. No, give me the finished article.
The suitors were good. The
Yeah,
suitors
the suitors were
good.
I
Yeah,
thought
they-
one bit I thought was a little bit like the Argos dog scene, always beautiful. But I just thought at the start when they flash back to him looking at the puppy, was there any need to show the bit of him yeeting the little puppy off the cliff? Like I just sat there like, why did they have to add that? Like, yeah, boom, laters, see you later. I was like, there was no need. There was no need. They could have just shown him picking up this puppy and being like, I love this dog with all my heart. Brilliant. But no, we're just gonna traumatize you so slowly or quickly with this guy just yeeting this puppy off a cliff, which made me not like the guy. You know, in this version, I'm like, well, he just throws puppies off cliffs. I was just like, wow, really.
Did you realize, by the way, the guy who is the mentor of, I don't want to butcher his name, so I'm just going to say Tom Holland's character, Telemachus, is Ryan Hurst, who was meant to be Kratos.
And then he tore his bicep, and he is no longer
tore his
Kratos.
bicep and had to be recast.
Yeah,
wow.
He must be hating life for that.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with Eurylochus, Eumenides, the swinehead.
Yeah.
They made him look quite poor, and like at the time, being like head of a herdsman for a big family like that was like a massively important job. So it was a weird one of like they were treating him like a beggar, but in the original they're more treating him like you're one of Odysseus's old friends, therefore we hate you, as opposed to you're less than us.
I did really like John Leguizamo as him, though. I thought he played it really well.
Yeah, really good.
Also, the end end bit in the Odyssey, Telemachus kills a lot of people. I'm pretty sure he does. He is fighting alongside his dad. He's killing a lot, but they sort of nerfed him a bit to have his one little moment where he couldn't do it. But I
kind of wish they'd done that, Scott. Yeah, I kind of wish that we kind of see that he was meant to be learning this stuff at the start and that, and then didn't seem to learn it.
Trust me, if you read it, he does. He is fighting just as
You know who he kills. More importantly, he only does kill one suitor, but he directly kills the 12 disloyal maidservants, and he hangs them all. I think he's made to do it by the suitors. He hangs all the women, and I did see a complaint that Anne Hathaway is the one that pushes like Mia Goth out into the room to be killed with everyone else, because they were like, it is a moment where it's like, again, you're like, oh, he's made a weird decision. But it was I liked the hall. I liked the fire down the table. I thought it did a lot for the lighting.
Yeah, I really like the bow stringing. I love him stringing the bow. And then the
epic theme. Did you hear the epic theme? Which apparently someone has confirmed was intentional, because it's the I'm just a man theme for those 4 notes. And somebody said there's an interview somewhere where someone brought it up to Nolan and he was like, we put it in deliberately. I have no proof for this because I haven't found the interview yet. If that's true, that's awesome. If it's not true, it's still the same theme. And I think that's the coolest thing ever, because Epic is a phenomenal retelling of the Odyssey in musical form. So if you're dyslexic and you don't want to read it and you don't want to listen to it, listen to the musical thing, because it's still got all the bits in.
I've heard it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah. There was something that's just completely popped out of my head. When we end up in hell. It is hell, isn't it? Or like the
It's
gates
the entrance
to.
to the underworld, but yes.
Entrance to
Yes,
Hades.
we obviously see people who are relevant to Odysseus' story and people that he's affected, and pretty much everyone who's died because of him. The guy who is on the floor crawling,
Yeah.
is that Hades
No.
or not?
That's
No,
Just a
right, okay.
That's Tiresias, who is a blind prophet. He's actually really famous, so it's quite funny how they did it. Tiresias is directly
I
responsible.
recognise the actor.
I don't. Yeah,
I
tell me who
didn't.
it was because I don't know who it was.
I
Tiresias is a
really
prophet
recognised him.
who
Yeah.
is like he pops up in loads of things and tells people what's going to happen, including like Oedipus and stuff. But
That was it.
so they
Got
go
him.
to find Tiresias, and in the book on the way, they also Agamemnon realizes his mum's died. He sees the sailors that betrayed him or that died stupidly and apologized to him, and then obviously
Mhm.
Agamemnon and the others. Ajax, I think, as well. He didn't make it home.
No, he doesn't.
You will, as soon as you search his name, you'll recognise him instantly. His name's James Remar, so it's spelled Rear.
What's he in?
And he's been in so much stuff. Django, Welcome
my
to
God, it's
Derry. He
him.
was in Oppenheimer. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say you recognise him straight away.
Yeah.
I
He was
recognise him
really
more from when
good.
he's like an older actor.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I knew I recognised the voice, and I had his face in my head, but I was like, I didn't know his name or couldn't pinpoint where I'd seen him before.
Do you want to know what he's in? He's in Ratatouille.
Yes,
that's
he is.
important.
I'm trying to think what he is in Ratatouille,
Larousse in
but
Ratatouille.
La Rue.
But
I love
no, I
that.
really
love it.
liked how they depicted that. And then again, that was filmed practical as well.
That was that practical? All practical?
So they buried the actors and gave them snorkels.
That's insane.
So they went to the black beaches in Iceland and buried all the actors so that when the actors rose up, it wasn't CG. They all had little snorkels that then they could obviously just breathe until he went action, which they probably all wear like earpieces to hear it, and then all just crawled their way out of the sand.
I have been to that beach, which is no
I haven't,
longer
no.
a beach. There was a massive tidal surge and it's now all underwater, which is really sad.
wow.
But when I went to the beach, and it was about almost 10 years ago, we're on a school trip and it was foggy, as foggy as it was in the film. And you stood there and you couldn't see the water because it was so foggy. You could only see black sand and fog. So, and
Oh,
when
that
I
must
was
have
there,
looked
I was
so
like,
cool.
I texted a picture to my dad and I was like, this looks like how I imagined Death from Terry Pratchett, like that universe. So I was like, it's really, I did not realize that they'd done that practically in Iceland. But now you've said that, I was like, well, that's the perfect place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dead Agamemnon, I liked that.
I thought he looked, again, the suit just not battered, like he hadn't got dented, but
Just
dirty
dirty.
and looked dead. It looked amazing. It
He's
looked so
sexy.
cool.
He's a sexy
And he didn't
man.
he didn't walk, did he? It was like he was floating forward. And
Have you seen the
I
interview with the actor
yeah.
about the moving? He was like, partially
No.
it's because he was like, you have to move a certain way because everything's like bumping into each other. But he was like, I thought that as like a leader, if somebody asked you a question, you full body turn towards them and like that person's like, shit. But in his head, he was going like, you've asked me a question. I'm now waiting for the fucking answer. Like properly aggressive. But what I love about it is
That's
all he
cool.
was talking about was like physicality. I was like, that's really interesting because most actors are like a lot about how they do their lines and do the pronunciation. But like everyone's talking about Agamemnon. He's only in it for like 4 minutes, but he did the physicality so well. You didn't need him to speak.
Powerful.
No, you didn't know.
Powerful
He
and
just-
just aura.
The physicality spoke for him.
So shout out to the
Literally.
costume designers, I guess, as well, who I
So,
don't know who it
so
was.
what you're saying is when I wear this armor, I've just got to study how Benisafty walked and just copy it.
Yeah, it'd be basically. It looks like he just basically learned to like kind of turn on like planes because if you turn your head, like your helmet would hit your shoulder piece, right?
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
like
you'll
Michael
probably
Keaton
when you
Batman.
make it, you'll probably be able to ring us and tell us what you can and can't
What it's
do.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it'd probably be like, yeah, as I say, Michael Keaton's Batman, where it's turning the shoulders
Yeah.
like that, rather than, yeah.
It's like no wonder we didn't see him fight. He can't actually move. So
He probably couldn't. No. I need to get a look at that sword because the sword looked very
Yeah.
extravagant, but I couldn't see it
The sword was
exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean everything. Like as we say, like it wasn't historically accurate. Every costume, though, was so stunningly made.
I will say one thing. I wasn't a fan of the Trojan costume and helmet.
I wasn't a fan of the helmet.
Yeah.
The helmet itself, yeah, maybe it's just the helmet. I thought the helmet was like, it looked not as
Asian.
good as the red. Yeah, it was a bit weird.
It felt
But apart
Asian
from that,
compared to everything else. I know it's not
Yeah.
actually.
They looked like they were made of marble
Yeah.
to me.
they're supposed to be
did-
super rich, you know, that sort
Yeah.
of the rich nation. So
I did like the kind of Athena priestess with the statue being dressed similarly, so that when they beheaded the priestess, they beheaded the statue. Because
Yeah.
the sacking of Athena's temple is a massive plot point in why Athena and Odysseus are on like a rocky start at the beginning of the Odyssey. But like the
Yeah.
fact that they were like, I liked they didn't put the gods in it, because I think the
Yeah.
minute you put the gods in something, you are making a solid stance on like what they look like, what they represent. And the kind of the point of the gods, the Greek gods in my eyes is like they're just infallible humans, and it's hard to show on screen with like if you've got someone like Agamemnon walking around, like it's difficult to then be like, oh, and here's you.
Yeah, I kind of see it as like they appear how you think they would appear in your
yeah,
eyes. So
I like that.
my perspective of what Zeus looks like would be completely different to what Scott's looks like, or something vice versa.
Just think
did-
Disney's
yeah.
Hercules. That's my Zeus.
I did want to touch on the end, like leading towards when we do find out that Zendaya is not actually playing Athena, because I think Nolan in a lot of his films is very good at a red herring and then leading to something. Like Interstellar is one of the biggest things where it actually at the end starts to reveal what is actually going on. Oppenheimer used it incredibly well, in my opinion, by showing these little snippets of different things throughout the film, and then it turned out to be predictions of the future, of what the future is going to look like, and that. And this did that, but made you believe the entire time that Athena was Zendaya, and it was nothing to do with that. And
But
I
Athena
may
does
be looking at this
appear.
wrong.
You make a really valid point, because it's really interesting when Odysseus comes back and says like not everyone with grey eyes is Athena, because Mentor is Athena in the books, and like Athena does keep appearing to people, and it is the fact that she's got grey eyes that points out. And I thought what really made it emotional, because they kept cutting back to Troy. Normally they do Troy in one big go.
Yeah.
It's mega emotional. They kept cutting back to it, which felt a bit bitty. And then suddenly they're like holding this young girl down and beheading her. And you're like, they are sacking a city. These are not good men. Odysseus's men raped and pillaged their way through, stole as much as possible, and he loses a huge amount of men on the way back because they just try and rob more islands that they come across. So, like, seeing Nolan do that kind of like, it maybe Athena's spoken through this priestess, and that's the image that Odysseus remembered because it was so shocking. But like, yeah, I did not see that coming, and it happened, and I was like, oh my god.
Is it meant to be that, and I maybe totally misread it or how it looks and everything, that Odysseus kind of regrets what's happened in this version? That he's like
Odysseus,
looked back at, yeah.
he feels so much guilt because he is their commander, and I'm sure Scott can speak more on this, but in a very layman's terms, he's the commander of 600 men, and he goes, we're going to go home. And through a mixture of poor decisions, 90% of which is them stabbing Polyphemus and pissing off Poseidon. Like, Odysseus pisses off Poseidon, and therefore all of his men die. And like Zeus at the end, because Zeus tells him, I'm going to kill all your men if they touch this castle. And he's like, fine. And the guilt is that Odysseus always chooses to go home to Penelope over the lives of 600 people, which is obviously morally not even grey. It's morally wrong, arguably, but he's just so desperate and selfish to get home. So he is guilty. And I quite liked that came across. It was like, yeah, you're home, but at what fucking cost?
Yeah. And is it the, you know, that he doesn't take the trade route, does he? He takes this other route at the start when he's like, yeah. Is that because of his ego?
No, in the books, he gets home almost immediately. He gets home within like 12 weeks. And then, so there's a storm. They go to the island of the wind god Aeolus. And Aeolus is like, they basically pray to Aeolus. They're like, please save us from Poseidon. He's being a dick, because Poseidon is being a dick. And Aeolus, who's not giving a fuck about the Trojan War, is like, fine, and gives them a bag of wind. And the wind very nicely takes them all the way back to the shore. They can see Ithaca on the shore. And then some of his men are like, oh, but maybe there's secret treasure in the bag. And they open it. And because all of the winds rip out, it blows them all the way back
miles off.
to the island. And then they have to then they have to fight their way back home. So it's this nuts thing
Okay.
of, if you actually look at the text, you're like, he gets home to Ithaca faster than everyone else, and then fucks back to Troy. And
It's
has to take the
basically
long
his
way around.
men.
Oh
Like
my God.
he's super clever, but his men just keep fucking it up.
Odd.
Yeah.
Especially with
Right, okay.
eating the sun god's cows, and so they just
Yeah.
keep pissing. They just keep pissing about, and yeah. And I think the story that I'm trying to like you know, with Neoptolemus, because he Achilles' son, he's the one that sacks the Athena's temple
Yes.
a lot, and I'm pretty sure their storms come because of it.
So the thing that I think is important context that you don't need but helps is that the gods take sides. And this is the Iliad more than the Odyssey, which is why if you've read the Iliad, you get a lot more out of the Odyssey. The gods are very firmly split 50-50, and the gods are fighting through the men. So like a huge amount of the decisions that are made by the heroes, they are directly told to do so by gods. So by the time
Right.
when the Greeks leave, all of the gods that are on the Trojan side that have just lost want to kill the fucking Greeks. So there's an argument to be made for, like, it doesn't matter what Odysseus would have done on the way home. If you've pissed off Poseidon and you've got to sail home, you're fucked anyway.
Yeah.
And like Athena falls out with him after the temple thing and then comes back around to the fact that actually he's very clever. But like there's a whole, it's nuts the level to which the gods are involved. And I think that the Iliad is quite a turning point where the gods make a pact to stop getting involved because everyone dies. Everyone the gods supported dies, and there was no point to any of it. And it's a big like cut off kind of thing.
Yeah, because in terms of the travel home, I got in the film that it was Odysseus being a bit egotistical and like, I'm the smartest guy, we're going to take the short route.
There's an
I could be
aspect
looking
of
at that
it.
completely wrong, but
I mean, there is an aspect to it. I mean, Ajax also goes, I think, for a shorter route and also pisses off the gods. And Ajax's ships all get drowned in the storm that pushes Odysseus off course. So, like that, when they all initially leave Troy, Poseidon fucks with everyone. So there's like, it doesn't really matter which direction you're heading off in. Once that storm happens, everyone's just like fighting for their life. But you're right in terms of like Odysseus being so clever is what makes his men get sick of him. And that's like the human error part. Is like there's a point that you can see quite clearly in the film where the men are like, we don't want to listen to you anymore because we're still dying. And even though he has made some good decisions, like they can't see past the fact that half of them are dead.
yeah. Yeah. So I'd got a few questions to like round off a little bit, and one of them sort of like I came up with during this when you said that how much detail there is in this and some of the things that were missed. And would you have rather this, although Nolan isn't known for doing it, be a series, like a TV
What?
series, like a 5-part series?
I think the epicness of the IMAX 70mm that he's done, I think helps bring this home as an epic. I don't know if this was a series, it would feel, because I still, like I did with Interstellar, I watched this film and it was just big and it was just epic. It was all encompassing, the music, everything hit. I don't know. And yeah, a series can do that, I suppose, but it's just, I don't know if the power of that sort of like feeling that you're watching this film, you're watching this would hit as hard. You could definitely put in a lot more.
I think you'd
I
lose
don't
the
know.
fact that it's one journey. That's what's insane about this. Is it is one journey. He has one goal the whole time, and that's to get home. So if you made it episodic, yes, maybe you'd have more detail. But to be fair to Nolan, like so much of the detail of the Trojan Wars and the gods and stuff is explained in the Iliad and or other, like the horse isn't even in it. They're all
Yeah.
taken from other epics that have actually been like lost.
Mm.
So a lot of these myths we know about through like word of mouth, but the myths are not part of it. So Nolan did quite a good job of like explaining the myths to people that would have no idea what they are. But I think it would be difficult to do it any other way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The other thing was, where does this sit in terms of like, I know it's not historical, but this sort of historical thing in terms of your like favorites of depictions? So like we've obviously had Troy, we've had 300, things like that. Would you say this is
I
now
think
like
Troy is the top
top?
for me. Troy.
In terms of,
You
do
still
you mean
think
like,
Troy is above this?
Greek? Do you mean like ancient Greek specifically? That
Yeah,
type
like
of, yeah.
yeah. Well, in
Yeah.
terms of historical film as well.
Yeah,
I think Troy's, you know what I think it is? Troy has the joy and the lows and the joys and you see the human cost of Troy. And that's the bit that always gets me. And I think that's where it becomes personal preference. Is like neither of them are that accurate. They're both based off fucking myths. But when you see Hector fall and Achilles fall, and you're watching people who are fundamentally just men with some kind of like backing from gods just kill each other needlessly for 10 years, like it's heartbreaking. And even now watching Troy, like the whole way through, you're like, fuck Helen. Like you hate Helen in it because she's a weak bitch and she doesn't do anything and she doesn't help anything and she doesn't just go home. And you're like, I've more emotionally invested in Troy because it's more about people. And I think they did the like peaks and troughs way better. This was incredible as a visual spectacle, but I weirdly didn't have the same emotional reaction as I did because I didn't feel like there was as much to be emotional with.
I think for me, I'm really thinking about that. I don't know. Does Gladiator count as this sort of? Because that will always
I'd
be.
say you're in there.
I'd say Gladiator is
Yeah.
probably that experience of seeing Gladiator at the cinema, and it's still powerful. I still listen to the music 20-something years later, and it still hits a bone in my body, you know? So I think Gladiator is probably, in terms of this style of sort of ancient classics, Greek, or be it Rome. Yeah. Braveheart will probably have to be there because it's the film that got me into history, that liked history. So, but Troy for me is like, Troy is an action epic film. It's action, you know, it's like Charlotte said, it's fast, it's fun, you know, whereas this is that big booming epic that Christopher Nolan does so well. You know, whereas Troy is Troy for me, and it's the Fast and Furious of the classic films. You know, it's sort of, and Fast and Furious is one of Christopher Nolan's favorite films, by the way. I saw an interview of him saying.
Do you know a fun fact that Christopher Nolan was originally the one who was going to direct Troy?
Really?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
And he had the choice. I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but Nolan had
Ridley
the
Scott,
choice of
wasn't it?
two different.
Was it
Was it
Ridley
Ridley
Scott?
Oh, he did
Because I
Nolan had the choice of two.
No, he
Ridley
did
Scott-
Gladiator.
Gladiator, yeah.
Who did Troy?
Let me have a look. Director Wolfgang.
Oh, it wasn't Ridley
Peterson.
Scott. Wolfgang Peterson. I do know when they were filming, the whole set for Troy blew down in a storm. They had to rebuild it.
Yeah, ironically.
Yeah, but there was
Troy, where do you rank
had the
this,
choice
by the way?
of.
You haven't answered your own question.
I was going to say just quickly, Nolan had the choice of two films, Troy, or there was another film which he ended up making, which was the choice over Troy. Which is what do you think it was? Batman Begins.
Fuck off. Really? If Batman Begins,
So he chose.
and I'm sorry to say this, is not a good film.
You're not invited back.
I have to say, out of the
That's
Nolan,
for another day. But what?
Out of the Nolan Batman trilogy, Begins is third for me, with Rises second and Dark Knight first.
Which is the Joker one? I like the Joker one.
What?
Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
I have seen very few Batman films, and to my joy, the set I've seen are the really serious like trilogy with Hans Zimmer and Heath Ledger.
That's his. That's Nolan's.
Which were fine, but the lack of a theme song pisses me off. And the other one I've seen is the one with Mr. Freeze, which is Anuma Thurman. I'm like, the two Batmen I've seen are Batman with nipples and puns, and then like I don't even know who plays Batman in the Nolan ones, and then like Grizzly Batman.
Christopher Bale.
How can you say that Nolan's Batmans have not got a theme?
No, it has no. The only theme for Batman is two notes. It's dun dun, and it annoys me because I want him to have a theme song.
Okay. Have you watched the Pattinson one? Have you watched Pattinson's one?
It's not come out yet.
Yeah, it has the first one.
Oh, I thought they were still filming the first one. No, I'll watch it.
It was 6
You
years
want to know
ago.
another fun fact? Another fun fact is the only film I've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger in that I remember is the other Batman as Mr. Freeze.
No,
Which I don't want to see any more of his films because I think that's so funny as a concept to be like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's Mr. Freeze.
T2. How have you not seen T2?
It is
Terminator 2.
No one has ever sat down with me and been like, do you want to watch it? You know what? I'll watch it for you and you'll get my feedback.
Terminator 2.
You've got to get through Terminator 1 first, and then you can watch T2.
Yeah, you've got to watch Terminator 1 and then Terminator 2. But yeah,
You
sorry,
turned
back
down
to the
Troy
question
for
of
Batman. That's crazy.
Yeah. In terms of the same thing for me, God, yeah. So the Odyssey isn't my favourite one, but I'm torn between my two favourites, which is Troy and 300. I know 300 is very stylized, but I really like that story. And I know obviously it's like oh, there was 300 Spartans, but let's not talk about all the other people that were there with them. There was just 300 Spartans. But that film is so cool.
Thing is, when
It
people have a go at
is
that
just a
film, when they have a go at
cool
300, I'm like, it is 300. Yes, it's telling the story of Thermopylae, but it's based off the comic book. So there's a reason why it looks the way it does.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yes, the Frank Miller.
yeah. So, Troy, if you want a really good book on it, this one, it's a good one by Paul Carthage.
Okay.
There's an audiobook.
Is that on Thermopylae? And yeah, okay. You need to send me a link to these because I'll not remember all the names.
Would
That
you
was
recommend seeing this kind of medium as a play as they were originally performed? Because it's like
Oh, I
spoken
would love
word, or in a film format?
Are we talking modern day?
More like, the Odyssey is on at the moment. I guess the drama is drama, like not necessarily modern language, just in like formal language.
Yeah. Personally, for the aspects of knowing what happens in the film with the creatures and everything, I would have to say film because I think you can depict the grandeur of the stuff they go through, like Polyphemus, like the giants, the whirlpool, everything like that, in such a way that's incredible. I think that how they depicted the storms was incredible.
Yeah.
As well, because there was at one point which, and I'm not going to butcher his name and I'm going to try to pronounce it, the cinematographer who's done a lot of Nolan's films actually argued with Nolan at one point for how they were going to film them. So Nolan wanted to light it so that we could see each character. And cinematographer went, no, we are going to light this with one lamp. And the lamp is going to be the lamp that is in the ship. And that is the only thing. Because we've been trying to make this seem absolutely terrifying that the gods are here. They've turned out the lights on you.
Yeah.
And when Nolan actually saw it, he completely agreed. When he actually saw what they'd filmed, he was like, yeah, this is incredible. Yeah. So I think for the aspect of that sort of a thing, I'd say film leads itself to this really well.
I think, hearing you say that, you're right. Like for the bigger epics, it has to be filmed. For the smaller side plots, so like the Agamemnon, the Oresteia, the Antigone, like all of those ones, I think are wonderful as plays because all the small side plots, like the Clytemnestra one I explained, are human drama. And actually, you're right. Maybe this is more like god drama. And then the rest of it is like, it's much easier to do like an angry woman on stage than it is to be like Zeus is here.
Yeah, the more intimate stories where it's like, it is, as you say, the more human stories. It's not this grandeur. It's like more like mind manipulation and between people and stuff rather than, the gods are involved or there's a monster over here or something like that.
It's very emotional. I think that's the more side quest stories you read, and I'm not going to remotely pretend that they are necessarily easy to get into. The more you read, you realize that like the Greeks and the Romans who performed the plays were just obsessed with how like the ramifications of everything. So like Clytemnestra is fully in the right for killing Agamemnon because he comes back with a whore and he killed her daughter. I don't think anyone watches that and is like, she's in the wrong. And it's a fascinatingly feminist take on, but then when you break it down, you're like, it's not even a feminist trait. They're just doing what is correct in terms of, and I think we've lost that a bit in modern drama, is that there is much more of a lens on gender, whereas back then there was more of a lens on like emotion. And I think that's why Penelope's good in this, because her emotion is the emotion you'd expect someone to have who's been frustrated on a throne for 20 years, like fucking 100 men abusing Xenia in her, halls.
Yeah.
It came across really well.
Don't think I'm cosplaying Agamemnon because I agree with everything he does. Please do not think.
No. Let me be clear.
Badass.
Agamemnon gets a free pass from me because he is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Even when he gets home, he spends about all of 3 minutes being like, "No, darling, I can't step. I am clearly not doing this in the original text." Yeah. He's like, "No, darling, I can't step on the carpet because the gods will be angry." And she's like, "But are you not better than the gods because you've like won this big war?" And he's immediately like, "God, yeah, you're right, I'm good," and just steps straight onto the carpet. And you're like, it took so little persuasion. He's like so strong in the battle, and then he sees his wife and she just like plays his ego a little bit and he's like fucking dead in seconds.
Amazing. Yeah. Final question then. Obviously you know mine. Who are you cosplaying from it?
Odysseus.
Obviously Odysseus.
Because I've got the helmet, but Menelaus as a backup because he's bald.
Yeah, as soon as that helmet comes out, I'm printing it.
Who are you doing, Troy?
Instantly. Agamemnon.
Yeah, I'm doing Agamemnon as well. And then my backup is Penelope, but I think I might just do Agamemnon. Like,
He is badass. That suit's
who
badass.
else are you going to be? Like, genuinely, when I say I've grown up with him, I've grown
Yeah.
up with him. And seeing him be that good on screen was like, I mean, Scott could have, I don't know if Scott saw the opening shot of him with the helmet. I was bawling my fucking eyes out with pride. Like, I was like, this is the moment I got bullied for at school. I'm going to become him in real life and I'm going to be a menace. And I'm sorry in advance.
Shall we both do Agamemnon for Fantasy Forest next year?
Do you want to do Agamemnon and I'll do Swagamemnon?
Yeah.
No, I am actually genuinely down for that. And I'm
do that.
if anyone wants to go to a beach and shoot just like Greek
100%.
shit, I'm so down.
100%.
Well, as
100%.
soon as Achilles is done, that's the first shoot I need to do.
Yeah, 100%.
It can't be. I literally can't do it in the trees at MCM. It has to be on a beach.
We're going to go to a
And
proper beach with sand dunes and we'll shoot it properly.
Yeah, and I don't mind like getting in the water and stuff with this because it will look sick and
I
stuff
mean,
like
you
that.
don't have a choice. You're getting in the water if you're doing that.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, go see the Odyssey. I think that's our thing.
Go
We
see
like picked it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's been really good. I found it really interesting having both of you who know, although I've known snippets of it and stuff like that, knowing a real in-depth outlook on it and giving me. Well, I've learned a lot of information on it, which
I'm really
is
sorry.
great. I can no, because then I can now watch it again and
Yeah.
see those things and know what's coming and like even things that aren't in the film. I'm like, that's happening at this point. But yeah, no, that's been fantastic to actually learn more about what's actually going on. So no, I really appreciate it. It's been that's been fantastic. I love that.
Love
I love
Yeah.
that more people are going to see this and then be intrigued and be like, I think it's so, classics is so important. And it's why Percy Jackson's one of my favorite all time things. Like, it's so important for modern day literature for people to have an understanding of Greek and Roman mythology, because a huge amount of what we do today is influenced by it, more than you'd ever think.
Yeah.
So the more films like this that come out that get people going, maybe I'll listen to Stephen Fry's books because he's cool and modern and like he's done a fantastic job. It's only brilliant. Like, everyone's vocabularies will expand, metaphors will expand. It's just, I'm so thrilled. Go see it.
Go see it. Just go see it. If it's like I said at the
Right.
start, if it's the gateway into it, do it.
Perfect. Right.
Make it.
Where can people find you online? I know Scott's got a lot of channels.
Just mad about history, Scott. That's me.
There we go. Plug
There we
the
go.
one. Charlotte, plug your photography as well because you are very, very good.
Oh, like I wasn't going to. Thank you. So photography, you can find me at charlottewoolrich_photography or at www.charlottewoolrichphotography.com. Woolrich is spelled WOOLRYCH. And for cosplay, you can find me at charlottewoolrich_cosplay. Hire me, I'm great. And if you want to see more pictures of these boys, they're on my website, so you have to go find them. And if you're going to ask me what your photos from Connor, the answer is on my website. Please go and actually look at it.
Charlotte, where are my He-Man photos?
What, the ones I took like 2 days ago?
They will be on the website.
They will be on the website at some point.
Yeah.
Currently, the text I got on my phone earlier this evening was my sister going, "Are you done with my wedding pictures yet?" So, like, that's what I'll be doing after this.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Dex is amazing at this, and I'm never ever good at this. Podcast Pop Cultured, and on TikTok at popcultured.pod, and then anywhere you get your podcast, search Pop Cultured. That's the best I've got at that because I never remember. Dex can literally rattle it off like it's nothing.
I
don't know how he does it. No, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate
Thank you.
it.
I love
Go
that.
see the Odyssey.
Thank you.
Bye.